Fighting for truth, justice, strippers, and whiskey. Did I mention strippers?
Oh, God. Oh, yeah, right there.
I'm leaving right after this drink. Rock and roll, whiskey, and other stories with Brian Shaw.
Cheers. Yes. Welcome to episode 42 of I'm Leaving Right After This Drink, rock and roll, whiskey, and other stories. Here we are, fresh off a couple of great shows last week, Chicago and Styx, the Windy Cities tour, as well as Lynyrd Skynyrd. Two great shows. Sorry, folks, I've already had a few. And it's also, by the way, it's nice to be back having a Jack and Coke. It's almost like just being back home after a long vacation. So before we get into things tonight, man, I just want to say thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, and supporting the podcast in any way that you do. I greatly appreciate it. As always, feel free to scan that QR code and buy myself or my awesome friend Tits McGee a shot of whiskey. It is greatly appreciated, and we thank you for doing that awesome service for us. Is that really what it is? A service? Thank you for donating is what I'm trying to say. It is appreciated. And here you guys might be going, who the hell are you? It's the first time I'm here. I just found you like stumbling through YouTube or whatever. Listen, just a dude who spent about 15, 17, 18 years in the radio and TV business. And I like to talk about some of those things that happened to me in the business, meeting some cool people, meeting some not so cool people. And I talk about those things. I talk about just life, talk about going to concerts, drinking some whiskey, just hanging out with friends and just all around having a good time and just being real here on this podcast. And you might go, hey, Brian, who is Tits McGee? Because you said we could also buy her a shot of whiskey. Well, she is an awesome friend of mine, and she happens to also have great boobs. See? And if you're not watching on YouTube, you just missed a great photo, and you might have gone, wow, I would like to donate. And that's why you should be watching on YouTube for those of you who are not. Anyhow, and her and I, we go to shows all the time. We hang out quite a bit. We have a great time. We drink some whiskey and bourbon and just enjoy ourselves and, and our friends and the whole thing, man. So it's an awesome time. And again, I appreciate you guys supporting the podcast in any way that you do. So where do we begin? Well, it kind of ties in her, like the Tits McGee and it kind of all ties in because my friend Randy was in town last week with Chicago and Styx as he's working for the band Styx now. But he's the one who gave my friend that nickname, Tits McGee. So we all got to hang out last week when they were in town. Chicago and Styx put on an awesome show. And I will say this, that if I thought the average age at Lynyrd Skynyrd and Marshall Tucker Band a few months ago was up there, yeah. Styx in Chicago, it's definitely given George and Marshall Tucker a run for their money. You know what I'm saying? Because I might think that myself and Tits McGee brought the average age down. Yeah, exactly. So anyhow, but it was a great show. Both bands sounded amazing. I will say that I think that Tommy Shaw looks like he could still go another 10 or 15 years. And the rest of the band, like I said, and listen, they're all getting up there, man. This is no joke. We love these classic rock bands, but let's face it, they've been around for 40 and 50 years. And look, they're just getting old, and that's part of life, man. And there's nothing wrong with that. So Chicago sounded amazing. We were lucky enough to have an opportunity to meet the new lead singer, who's a younger guy who sounds great. We had the pleasure of meeting him and their percussionist Ray on Tuesday before the show. Both great folks. And like I said, man, both shows were great. And listen, I like some of the old Chicago stuff. I used to play some of the old Chicago stuff on the radio. But listen, that like mid-'80s ballad stuff, yeah, I kind of like it. Not going to lie. You can hate, that's fine. But I do. And so, we had an awesome time at those shows or seeing those two bands. And then we also got to see Lynyrd Skynyrd on Saturday, also here in Tampa. And again, we can talk about Skynyrd. We can talk about, there's no original members, they should stop because there's no original member, like all that stuff, right? But it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, Johnny Van Zant still sounds great. Ricky Medlock still plays great. Damon Johnson from Brother Kane, he's been in Skynyrd now for a number of years. That guy plays his ass off, sounds awesome. And just the entire band, man, like all the songs. I was just stoked because I actually got to hear Curtis Lowe and Tuesday's Gone, my two favorite Lynyrd Skynyrd songs. So I 100% enjoyed myself just hearing those two songs. They did have a few songs in there that I thought were, I guess they were probably newer. I was not as familiar with those songs. And I thought, I get why you're playing those, but at the same time, I'm sure there's a lot of fans that were like, hey man, we could have heard a couple of other, old school songs. But, after playing those songs for so long, I'm sure you want to mix things up a little bit. But overall, man, Skynyrd still brought it down. And it was killer. So 2 great shows last week, and we totally enjoyed ourselves at those shows. And here's the thing about some of those bands too is, we can all talk, shit on those older bands or whatever. They should retire, they should stop, they should this, that, and the other. But let's face it, man, the musicianship in those bands can't be matched. I'll say it. And I believe it 100%. I don't think there's a lot of younger bands who bring some of the talent that those, veteran bands, those old school bands, the classic rock bands, whatever label you want to put on them. I just don't think the musicianship is there on those newer bands compared to the older bands like Skynyrd and Styx and Chicago and AC/DC and, Def Leppard and just all these bands that are out there now. So, say what you will, have your opinion, go see them, don't see them. That's totally on you. You know what I'm saying? What else do we got to talk about tonight? Let's see. You know what? Let's talk about the book a little bit because I got to tell you, my friends, I have to kind of keep giving an update on the book because I feel like that's going to keep me on track to actually releasing the book. And by the book, I mean, it's going to be more than one because there's going to be it's like a collection of like short stories of things that have happened over my radio and TV career. But there's also going to be some stuff in there about growing up and how I got into music and got into radio and all this kind of craziness that happened. There's some crazy stories from when I was a kid. There's crazy stories from, a few years ago. And they're all going to be wrapped up here in this book. And I'm pretty stoked about it. Now, listen. Is anybody going to buy it? I don't know. But I don't really care because at the end of the day, my whole goal for years has been just to say, I wrote a book. And damn it, I'm going to write a book. I am writing a book and it will be published. And hopefully we'll get some stuff out there by the end of the year. And there's also going to be an audio portion with it. So it's going to sound like I'm just sitting at the bar with you, telling you stories that happened to me over the course of my life. And I think you guys are going to totally dig it. And I'm excited about it. And, pretty much every day or at some point in the evening, man, I sit down and I do a chapter or two. So I'm very stoked about it and can't wait. And even WKRP is even mentioned in my book. So that's kind of the update there. Again, just very excited about it. I think one of the last things we'll talk about tonight is that I was scrolling through social media, I think yesterday or the other day, depending on when you watch this, who really knows? It doesn't really matter because in 2026, Appetite for Destruction turned 39 years old. It's absolutely unbelievable to think that I was 13 years old when that record came out. Like, what? And I remember when it came out, like I really, I was still, just still getting my feet wet in music at that time. And I remember a buddy of mine, his older brother kind of really also kind of steered me in a musical direction. And Appetite for Destruction was definitely one of those albums that he would play. And I was like, dude, this is some pretty kick-ass stuff. And I got into it. And I can remember, recording their videos on Headbangers Ball and MTV and all that shit just to listen to it when I got home because I didn't have cable. And I would record it like on a VHS tape. Like, how crazy is that to think about this? And it really shows, like, what? There's probably people going, what's a VHS tape, man? But that record was just so damn good. And I can remember even being in Los Angeles when that album came out and going, what is going on? Like you drive down Sunset Boulevard and there's a giant billboard for Appetite for Destruction. You'd go into the music stores at the mall, like the Sam Goody's, the Music Lands, the Camelot Records, like all those places, just a wall that was all Appetite for Destruction albums and CDs and cassettes. Like it was just crazy. And to this day, even back then, I never saw a promotion like that where there was billboard campaigns and there was just these entire walls of music stores dedicated to one album. Like it's crazy. And of course, we all know like those stories of them, sending Welcome to the Jungle to MTV and MTV not wanting to play it or whatever. And then they played it and then Sweet Child of Mine came on and all of a sudden, boom, like it just, things just clicked and took off, for the band. And I can remember watching like Live at the Ritz and watching that on MTV and just going, wow, dude, it'd be so awesome to see this band. And then, as the years rolled by, I got to see those guys a number of times. But, I actually just watched Live at the Ritz on YouTube just probably a month or so ago. And it's so wild to see Guns N' Roses from 1987, 88, whatever, when that was filmed to now. And it's just crazy. And even to see the energy, just everything that they brought at that time, man, it is absolutely crazy. And you just get to see the difference, in the band now versus then. So it's very cool to watch, and you should, totally check it out if you get a chance. But, I can remember getting into that album, and when I bought it, and I was just like, wow, like every time I would put that CD on, I would go, this is the best song on the record. And then I would listen to Welcome to the Jungle for, 2 weeks. And then you would go, no, dude, Anything Goes is kick ass. And then you were listening to Anything Goes for, 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever. And it was just beginning to end, man. Welcome to the Jungle to Rocket Queen. That album just smokes. And, to me, when you think about that album and when it came out, like it was such a middle finger to the rock and roll world at that time, because of course, 1987, that was right there with all the hair bands, the Rats, the Poisons, the Warrants, the Motley Crues, all that stuff. And here comes Guns N' Roses like, look out. And they just crushed it. And they brought something different, man. They brought this energy and rawness and realness and aggression. And it was just all so cool. And I just used all like the cliche words to describe Guns N' Roses, which I hate the fact that I just did that. But here we are. But it's true, man. Like that record really just kind of was like in your face. No apologies, none of that shit. Again, more cliches. We should just title this like the Cliche Podcast episode. And, but man, just so damn good. And I remember buying it, and as soon as I bought that, man, I was hooked. And Guns N' Roses became my band at that point. Like I had the posters on the wall. I had pictures from all the rock magazines, like everything, from GNR at the time. I think I still got like a GNR flag somewhere in all of my stuff. And it's just crazy to think about, man. And it's just even crazier to go, wow, I'm getting old. Yeah, I didn't say it. Ed, I know you're watching. I know you're counting. I didn't say it. But it's just crazy to think about that, man. 39 years ago, Appetite for Destruction changed the music business, at least in my opinion. And, it's crazy. And now, of course, these guys have been on the road. They did the reunion tour. They've been doing that for how many years? I know it's not called the reunion tour anymore, but it's like, okay, so then what? Next year, we're going to celebrate the 40th anniversary of Appetite for Destruction. Like, okay, cool. But can we change the set list up a lot if you guys do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, play some cool shit. Like, I would love to hear, like, Anything Goes from that album. That's probably one of my favorite songs from Appetite for Destruction. But anyhow, man, it's just wild to think about it. Like, if you want to, in the comments, man, talk about your experience with Appetite for Destruction. Did you like it when you first heard it? Did it grow on you? Were you sick of it? Are you sick of it now? Like, go ahead, leave those comments down below, man. I'd love to check those out and see if you guys felt the way I did. Like, I just thought that was just a kick-ass record when I first heard it. So just think about that for a minute. 39 years. Wow. It's crazy. So that's going to wrap it up for tonight, my friends. I'm also going to tell you that I got got some interviews lined up. I got some cool interviews coming. I promise. They might, listen, not everybody's going to be famous. It's not about being famous. It's about just talking about people, about different things in their life. Like, we're going to talk to my buddy Randy at some point, who again has been on the road with Chicago. He's been on the road with Todd Rundgren, Tesla, a number of bands. He's played drums with a lot of cool dudes. He's been a stage manager, tour manager, drum tech, like all these cool things in the industry. So it's going to be kind of cool to get some insight into those things. When we talk to him, of course, we talked to my friend Jeremy, the tour bus driver. We're going to bring him back on because that dude's got stories forever. And what else, man? We got Gary Hoey lined up, which I can't wait to talk to Gary. I got a couple other friends lined up. Man, we got, like every 5th episode is what I'm trying to do and knock out, a cool interview and give you guys a little different perspective instead of just interviewing like all these like famous people. And if we do get like famous people on, we're going to try and ask them different questions because how that's one of my big pet peeves is that these podcasts, get the same people on and they ask the same questions. Just in case I didn't get the answer on Billy Corgan's podcast, let me get it on Howie Mandel's podcast. Nope. Same damn question. It's ridiculous. So anyhow, that's my little rant for episode 42. Thank you. I appreciate you guys tuning in. And as always, like I said, man, thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing. Feel free to scan that QR code and donate to the podcast and buy myself or my awesome friend Tits McGee a shot. We would greatly appreciate it. And until next time, my friends, cheers.
Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe. You dig?
God bless the internet.